In the last video, I talked about creating a timetable from scratch. If you have not watched that video, I'll have a link in the description for you to follow. This video is about 3 topics that are important in scheduling process. In the first part, I'll show some important features of the timetable created by the SchoolPivot app. Many smart decisions are made automatically by the app to find the best possible timetable. The second part is about validating timetables, quickly using scores and understanding some common errors or warnings in the scheduling process. In the last part of video, I'll talk about why you want to have multiple timetables for your school and how to manage them. In the last video, I created a schedule named Timetable. I renamed it to Semester 1 V1. After that, I created a new schedule and named it Semester 1 V2. That's why you see 2 schedules on my dashboard. I created this new schedule by copying the old one. After the copy, I modified some school master data and rules. My old timetable is not affected by any changes I made. I'll talk more about it in the last part of the video. Let's look at the timetable for second schedule quickly. We get master and individual timetables view. Timetables can be downloaded as Microsoft Excel spreadsheet format, and individual timetables can be shared simply by a link. The timetable view can be very busy, so I'll point out some important features the SchoolPivot app brings to the table. Students are busy with lessons in every period except lunch. All the lessons are guaranteed to be scheduled. You can notice the first period is open for kindergarten. That's because I had their classes start in the second period. An open period is when a subset of a grade are not taking lessons. It could be any period. If you have staggered lunches, this feature can be used to manage that. All the joint constraints I specified for groups are satisfied, and it's guaranteed, so we don't need to worry about it. Any class that I wanted to be multi-period are also guaranteed to be satisfied. For every student group, the lessons are scattered throughout the week, which is good to break any daily pattern. This usually makes the learning interesting for students. For every subject, there is at most one lesson every day for all the groups. For example, if there are 5 math lessons per week, the app will schedule only 1 lesson per day. Let me switch to an individual timetable now. If one teacher is teaching more than one subject to the same student group, the app will try to put 1 lesson per day between the teacher and the student group. Let me show some features from the teacher's timetable. First, we get a list of all the available teachers in every period. If an assigned teacher is absent for any lesson, this is useful to find a substitute. The app tries to build a robust timetable in which there is suitable replacement for any grade, in any period, assuming a 10% absentee rate. Of course, this is possible only if teachers have enough free periods. The teacher's timetable shows if they are a student group home teacher. Home teachers' lessons are usually in the first or second period. Let me switch to the master timetable and tell you one last feature. When lunch period is specified, the app attempts to give a free period to all the full-time teachers, either before or after the lunch period every day. Of course, this is possible only if teachers have enough free periods. Let me list all the important features of the timetable again before I move to the next part of the video. When I have a big timetable for hundreds of teachers, the verification can take time. In most cases, I am interested in overall rules violation or other metrics using which I can be confident about the timetable. There are 2 places I can look. First, warning in the rules page for specific issue, and second, scores on the dashboard for overall quality. Let's look at the score of this schedule first. There is a lot of information packed here, so I will go over them briefly. For more details, refer to the help manual. All the rows with brown color are preference or constraints specified by me. They are easy to understand. For example, I can easily tell how many teachers' time preference or lesson time preference are satisfied. In the next group of metrics that are colored yellow is not something I specified, but they are common goals in many schools. I mentioned some of these before. A new metric here is fair teaching load criteria. This criteria is optimized when performing automatic assignment for teachers. The metric in blue color is a simple percentage showing how many hours are spent in teaching overall. I can adjust my overall staffing needs if I want. The metric in the green color is a weighted score of all the individual scores. It tells me about the schedule efficiency and rule satisfaction in an overall sense. It is pretty hard to get an A or A+, but the idea is to refine our schedule to aim for a higher grade. The score becomes handy when we have multiple schedules to compare. Next, I'll show some common errors and warnings you may get during the pre-check or after you get the timetable. Look into the help pages for a complete list of errors and warnings. The errors and warnings after a pre-check are usually self-explanatory. These are usually related to the assignment and basic scheduling rules. When you click on a warning, it shows you exactly which class may have the issue. For example, I have warnings that my preferred teacher are not available for a class. This can be ignored if I am okay with the automatic assignment. If not, I can adjust the teaching preference in master data or add a fixed teacher rule. The timetable generation phase treats all the scheduling rules as soft requirements, but with different priorities. A soft requirement is allowed to be violated. This technique enables a solution and also tells us what requirements are not satisfiable. They become the warning. The scheduling rules have to do with when the lessons are happening. We have looked at those rules earlier in the video. If some scheduling rules are not satisfied, then most likely they are not satisfiable unless some other rules are relaxed. Either I'll accept the violation or change some rules. I am going to switch to the first version of schedule where I had some warnings related to my timetable. This warning is slightly confusing, so I picked it to show here. It had to place 2 lessons on a day, so a multi-period rule is suggested. Let's see closely. If I look at the period rules, I can see that 2-2 means double period twice a week. I made a mistake of specifying 2 double periods for sports instead of 1 double period. The 2 multi-period lessons are hard requirements, and they are guaranteed to be satisfied. The other 4 classes have more than 3 lessons, so 1 lesson per day soft requirement has to be violated for at least 1 lesson. Anyone. Recall that the bell times have 5 periods for 5 days. I made this mistake in several classes. Actually, I applied this multi-period rule for all these classes at once. I fixed them in the second version of the schedule and kept this schedule unchanged. Other possible warnings are related to class period preference and teachers or shared room unavailability. They are usually simple to understand. When these rules are violated, it is usually related to the assignment of teachers, which you can override if needed. Sometimes these rules are not satisfiable because of other rules or even human error in data entry. So watch out for that too. Let me talk about when I might want to create a new schedule instead of modifying a schedule. I didn't really need to create a new schedule for this example. but as part of my workflow, I prefer to keep at least the last working timetable until I don't need it anymore. There are few reasons why I want more than one schedule. When I incrementally add or modify rules as I get feedbacks, as I did in this example. If I need to have different bell times for different grades. If I need different schedules for different semesters. Sometimes I try feasibility of a hypothetical schedule. And I also like to keep a record of previous year's timetable. To create a new schedule, I made some changes in the school master data, including subjects, electives, and teachers. I added a lunch period in the bell time, and some rules were modified to fix schedule warnings. This can happen in school at the beginning of a term, and you don't need to make the schedule from scratch. It's really easy to handle changes in the app. When a new schedule is built on top of an older version, I just need to make a copy. The rules will be copied automatically and new changes in the master data is applied. Remember that if you made changes in the master data, some rules may be removed. You just have to add them again. The bell times for the copied schedule can be changed too. You can easily remove or add periods. You cannot change the grades for which the schedule is for. This makes sense because many of the rules are dependent on grades. You can always create a new schedule if needed. Please keep in mind that your license will have a limit on how many timetables you can generate in a year. These limits are quite generous but not unlimited. You can always purchase additional timetable generation for a small price. For details, check out the pricing page on the website. Remember to subscribe to our channel for future video updates. Thank you for watching.